Hello, it's Aaron here from Sun and Sage, and welcome to my latest video. It's intended for anybody who's thinking of transitioning into a vegan diet and doesn't really know where to start. Hopefully some of these tips are going to be able to help you out in your journey towards veganism. Okay, so my tip number one is to go at your own pace. So what I mean by that is if you can't instantly go vegan overnight, don't kick yourself, don't feel bad about it. The important thing is your intention. You are trying to make some significant changes in your diet, and it's not always going to be easy, it's not always going to be immediate. So don't kick yourself, don't give up if you're not able to do it as quickly as you might see other people doing it. Remind yourself why you're doing this and go at your own pace. You should be able to find things much easier if you just give yourself a little bit of slack when you're looking to change your diet. My next tip is to get your taste buds used to all the new flavors that you'll be trying. I remember I really used to hate soya milk. One of the first things I did when I went vegan was to switch out cow's milk in my coffee to soya milk in my coffee, and I really didn't like it. I read somewhere that it actually takes about 3 weeks for your taste buds to properly change and start liking something that maybe you didn't like before and getting used to the taste. These days, I absolutely love soya milk and my taste buds have got used to it. I was accidentally served a cappuccino the other day that had cow's milk in it. I didn't know about it and I drank it and I almost spat it out, and I said to the waitress, your soya milk's gone off, this tastes awful. And she said, oh, you wanted soy milk, this is cow's milk. And it was my fault, I didn't ask. But the point here is that my tastes have changed so much since moving to a vegan diet that I really genuinely like the vegan option far better than the milk or meat or dairy option. And I'm sure that will happen with you. It happens with pretty much everybody who goes into it. So try not to stress if you don't like something instantly. Get used to it and your taste buds will change, and I guarantee you'll start liking it a lot more. My next tip is to develop a little plan for how you're going to do it. So for me, the thing that I really couldn't get out of my diet was pizza with cheese on top. I used to absolutely love it. I found it really difficult, and it really was the last thing to go. I was able to get this out of my diet by slowly phasing out the amount of pizzas I had, the amount of pizzas that I had with cheese on top. What I'd also do is I'd start slowly transitioning to pizzas that didn't have cheese on, or now these days it's much easier because there's lots of really good vegan cheese pizzas as well. So you can start switching them out, developing your own plan for phasing some of the animal products that you're finding really hard to just kick out immediately. So that one's a really big one for me, and as long as you keep the intention there and you use a couple of the other tips here, I hope that that can really help you in your journey as well. My next tip, similar to the last one actually, is to find plant-based versions of the things you really love. So what I mean by that is if you really love eating chicken, for example, there is a whole host now of plant-based meats out there that taste almost identical to chicken, and I think when people do taste tests, it's really difficult for them to know. Again, even if you can find a little bit of difference between the taste, your taste buds will change a little bit as well. So stick with it, find some of the alternatives that you can have on a vegan diet. A great one is to switch out your cow's milk for oat milk in your coffee, for example, and a lot of people are loving that. You've probably seen how well oat milk has been doing in the last few years. But if you find these vegan versions of the stuff you love, you'll end up finding that you don't have to really kick out any of the comfort foods that you really used to have, and suddenly it doesn't become as scary or daunting as it used to be. This is the biggest tip for me, really, and it's to remind myself why I'm choosing a vegan diet. Most people who go vegan aren't choosing to go vegan because it's great for them. Of course, it can make life a little bit more difficult, but when you look at the reason that you're choosing veganism. For me, it's all about compassion and how we treat animals and trying to stop my contribution to the suffering of animals in our meat, dairy, and egg industries. For you, it might be different. It could be that you want to help your health. It could be because you want to help the environment or create a better world for your children. All of these reasons really intertwine for me in the end, even though initially, of course, it was about animals. I'm passionate about the environment and making the world a better place as well. So keep in mind the reasons why you've initially chosen to go vegan and remind yourself about the reasons that you're doing it. My next tip is to look into things like documentaries and a little bit of the studies and science behind going vegan. You'll find all sorts of information out there, and again, it can be a bit daunting, but a few of my favourite easy to take in places to get information. You can have a look at the documentaries of What the Health. You can have a look at Game Changers or Cowspiracy. They're really good documentaries for explaining the ethical, environmental, and health side of choosing veganism. But there's lots more information out there. You can have a look at the Oxford study, for example, which looked into what would happen if the world went vegan, and just quick spoiler, the world becomes a better place. But have a look into it, take a look at some of the information out there, and it should give you a really good reminder for why you're choosing to change your diet in this way. A couple more tips. The first one is to join a community, and don't be scared to ask for help. Don't be scared to ask for support. It can be really, really difficult. And I remember when I first went vegan, I didn't know any other vegan, not a single one. And I felt so isolated and alone. And there was all this frustration that I was unable to find any like-minded people. And yeah, it was upsetting that I wasn't able to even convince some of my family and friends about it. But if you can find a community to support you, they're all out there. Social media, the internet, feel free to send me a message. I'll always reply, judgment-free and friendly. So don't worry if you're still eating animal products and you're scared to approach. I think most vegans that I know are actually very supportive and friendly when they see somebody that's trying. My final tip is to have fun with it, and instead of kicking yourself and going, oh, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have done this, just use it as a learning experience and enjoy the new worlds of food that you'll be able to access now. A lot of people like me, before I went vegan, I ate like the same 5 things over and over again. After I went vegan, I found that there was so much more food out there, and you don't just need to get food from animal products. In fact, you end up widening your food options. So take a look at things like Bosch. If you're into cooking, you can see some really cool vegan recipes there. But there's all sorts of different recipes online. It gets exciting when you're going to a new place. You can find vegan restaurants or the vegan options on the menu, and it really becomes like a whole new world and a whole new lifestyle that I think you'll really enjoy. That's it for my tips. I hope you found them helpful, and feel free to message me if you need any help yourself. I'll always reply, like I say, judgment-free and friendly. Thank you for watching.